Hi guys, this is Terrence from The Goods, and I'm back again to talk about another franchise I like to help save. Now, this time it's the DCEU, or the DCCU, or the DCU, or whatever they're calling themselves these days. I like to talk about how, once again, we can help save this franchise. Now, as before, I want to talk about some of the things that we can actually do to kind of save what they've currently given us in this whole franchise. Don't want to go to Reboot yet because, as we all know, Reboot tends to fix everything, but it's too easy. So let's talk about what they've given us so far and how we can guide this franchise back on track. First up, do better with the villains. DC seems to be scared to do anything interesting with their villains. I mean, outside of Zod, everyone else has been lackluster. I mean, if you look at Doomsday, Steppenwolf, Enchantress and her wiggly dances, poor portrayal of Lex Luthor, and don't even get me started on Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker, because he wasn't even the villain in Suicide Squad. All that work and all that creepiness thrown out for nothing. I mean, come on, DC. Break your own mold. Give us something that's kind of out there, off the wall. I mean, wait. Let me back up. Don't go too off the wall. I want it a little bit closer to the comic book interpretation, but I want to at least feel both sides of the story. I want to say, hey, I totally get his side, even though he is the villain, but I totally see it from his point of view. Also, to make me feel like the superhero is going to have to overcome a serious challenge in this. Not a situation where Superman shows up in the last scene and in the last minute beats Steppenwolf in 10 seconds. Or we go this whole route with Enchantress and she's not really that big of a deal at the end. Come on, DC, you can do better. I know you can do better. And plus, there is plenty of source material that you can dig from to give us something interesting. Next up, focus on the solo films. Now, I'm not saying I want a bunch of origin films, but one of the biggest issues people have with this universe is its interpretation of its characters. Solo films would give them a chance to have a clear vision with these characters instead of letting us get disappointed by the little we get from them when they're on screen, especially when they're doing these cameos and combo films and, Justice League, when they're having to share screen time with other underdeveloped characters themselves. I mean, if you look at Wonder Woman, that gave us so much more out of that character. So when we got to Justice League, you didn't have to spend so much time telling us about her. We were just ready to roll with who that character was. And if you really think about it, Man of Steel is the second best movie in this franchise. Yeah, I said it. It's the second best movie in this franchise. And because of that, even though you didn't really like the interpretation of Superman, we understood who he was, more or less, without the smile. But I would rather them go that route and give me more information about the characters, not origin films, but more information about the characters themselves so that they have the stage to themselves, than to shove everybody in another movie again, and then I have all of these questions about who these characters are. Next on my list, scrap the smaller character films. I mean, before this universe really even got going, we were promised a crap load of films. I mean, if you look at, we got promised Batgirl, Gotham City Sirens, Nightwing, Shazam, Harley Quinn, Black Adam, and so on. And if you, if you remember the post-credit scene at the end of Justice League, spoiler alert, we might even be getting a Legion of Doom film. Now, if you think about it, this is completely watering down what they've given us in the core of this universe, which at this time is really Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, and BVS. Yes, we have Suicide Squad, but I mean, it didn't even build up the villain roster really, and it didn't add anything into the overall arc of this universe. Now, I know I just said I wanted more solo films, but the solo films I want are from the main core characters. All the smaller stuff, that's sort of the people that you add into films as villains, as, your special guest cameo. Those are the people I don't need to have a bunch of screen time. You add Batgirl into a Batman film. You add, Black Adam and Shazam into a Justice League film whenever you get to it. You don't give me spinoffs on stuff when you haven't even built up your core universe yet. All those core characters need to be defined first before we can branch out to do other things. And yeah, I know Marvel does it, but you know what? Marvel has already built up the rest of their universe, so now they can branch out. DC, you focus on the core and what you have already before you want to branch out and do other things. That brings me to the next point on my list. Get a Kevin Feige. I mean, Kevin Feige's been instrumental in the success of the MCU because they've always had a clear vision of what they were doing and where they were going. And yeah, before you say anything, I know they have Geoff Johns, but he only took over after they thought they were lost by what Snyder was setting up in the beginning. And then they got rid of Snyder. And now they brought in Joss Whedon, and now Joss Whedon's leaving. So I know they say they have a clear, defined vision and that they have somebody running the ship from the very top. But ultimately, it does not feel like they do. I mean, every team needs a coach to give you a game plan and call the plays. And right now, it doesn't feel like DC truly has that figurehead that can tell them where they're going and what they're doing. So pick somebody. I don't care who it is at this point. Make it Geoff Johns. Call in anybody else. Put somebody in charge and say, tell us where we're going, and we're going to get right behind you. Pick a tone and stay with it. I know you guys thought I was going to say go ahead and do a reboot, but no, we're not talking reboot this time. What we're talking about is picking what you want to do and following it through. Who cares if your Superman's moody? Who cares if your universe is dark? Who cares if your Batman kills people? I mean, I kind of do a little bit, but who cares if that's the universe that you want to set up? I don't care if the MCU is light, fun, and jokey, and they make quips and they kind of lash back at each other, and it's all fun and giggles and ha ha ha. If you want to be dark, be dark. As long as you stick with it, the whole universe is that way. Don't go one day in one movie where you're just like, oh, we're going to be dark in this one. Oh, wait, the fans reacted too bad. Now we're going to lighten it up in this one. We're going to do reshoots. No, you stay with what you were doing. Hey, look at the Nolan films. Nolan's Batman was dark. His whole Batman universe was dark. It didn't matter because we bought into the story that he gave us, and he didn't back away from it. In some points he did. But ultimately, he stayed with his dark, moody universe. And I wish DC, if they're going to go light all the way. If they're going to be moody, go moody all the way. I don't really care. Give me a great story, and I will understand your universe, and I will live in it and be happy with what you give me as long as I'm entertained. And that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if this is your first time here, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe so that way you can see other content that we do actually have on this channel. So with that being said, take it easy, guys.